Räismitten.
Control the mixer with your application. You can. The good thing is you can save the settings of the key when you leave the studio. The engineers do a pretty good job. Doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're coming like
Zero.
Toiko on se härveli, millä se menee sinne Tanskaan?
Joo. Taikapuus.
Avaat sen, niin siellä on joku pieni vihreä mies, joka työntää sitä bittejä jonnekin kaapeliin. Onko täältä vähin porukkaa hävinnyt vai onko tää niinku?
20 minulla.
Onko? Tässä on vielä aikaa tulla. Miikka. Are you gonna say something? Are you gonna say something? Almost there.
All right. Second half. How was lunch? Nice.
Good.
I have a good feeling the following session is also going to be nice.
Good.
So this is Hannu, Videography Vuotila. And he's going to be talking about, well, videography, like doing, so Katriina was focusing on team's inner dynamics. Now Hannu is going to take you outside the team in the wonderful world of videographic research. So we're going to have 1 hour with Hannu, and then we're going to reveal the challenge and something else. That's also nice. Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Great to be here. Great to be full house. Woo! Wow! Ah, that's nice. First, I'm gonna a little bit tell where I'm coming from, what is my background, and why we should, in general, combine research and video production, or video in general. And then I'm going to tell you what is a good way to do it in practice. Hopefully you will get something out of it as well when you are going to do your or work with your challenge. And what else? That's about it. If you have any questions, just interrupt me, raise your hand, and or yell or something, throw something at me or something that I will notice. Let's keep this as a discussive way. Let's say I will talk nearly 30 minutes, maybe, something. And then we will have a question and answers, hopefully answers, session afterwards. So you can also ask then if you want. Okay, but let's move on. Wow, what was my topic? Making the life visible. It's all about, I say that videographic research, it's a combination of visual thinking, it's a combination of research, most likely qualitative market research, consumer research, or research in general, and video production. So that the outcome or the report is in video format, or the main piece of the report is in video format. So I'm coming from a company called Sailor. I'm the founder and CEO of the company, and we're constantly fighting against those darn boring PDF reports that nobody reads and are probably posted on internet somewhere and nobody reads them. So we want that research can be fun, it can be visible, and it can be understandable as well when we're talking about visuals. But let me tell first short story. In high school, I needed to read Seven Brothers of Alexis Kivi. He's a national author of Finland, and this is like legendary book of his, written in semi-poetic form, and I was totally bad reader at the time. And I went to the library, picked up the book, and I realized, okay, I have 2 weeks to do this. No way I'm going to do it. And then I made the research, I wanted to find something else. Maybe there's a shorter version of that. No, I actually found a little bit better than that. There was a VHS recording of play called Seven Brothers in small city theater of Porvoo. And I took that from library, put it in my VHS player, made some popcorn, watched the play, 2.5 hours, and I literally made the analysis based on that play or the recording. Okay, what happened? I saved time, 2 weeks basically. I still remember the settings. I still remember the basic plot of the whole play or the whole book, whole story. I still remember the characters. I still remember the whole setting, how it was like, how it felt to watch it, and so on. And I got the best ratings of my Finnish analysis ever in high school time. So basically that's what we want to bring to available of all researchers. So it might be quicker, it's better in the sense that you memorize it better, you will get the look and feel, how things feel when you watch a video. Okay, same thing here. If you think about book, the story might in per se might include really raw parts, really like extreme stuff, really ugly stuff. But if you put it on film, it will probably never be popular as the book. Even though the book might include these brutalities or whatsoever, it might be a really popular book. Why is that? The problem here is that people have problems to separate two different truths, kind of truths, hard word for Finnish guy, but because even though it's descriptive fantasy, the film, but we have difficulties to separate from our world. And that's where the uncomfortable feeling when watching horror movies, for instance, comes from. Okay, today we are basically living in a visual world. Amount of video is booming, amount of pictures, they're booming, and so on. So good reason to use more informative reporting tools as well. You probably know, but some years ago, you probably know better, but some years ago there was only in YouTube 300 hours uploaded, 300 hours video material uploaded every minute on YouTube. Probably now the number is even bigger. But also, why images? Why imagery is so important? It has an immense power to grab attention, but also evoke emotions. And that's really important part. If the pictures or video evoke emotions, we are more likely to remember that. I just read this paper where one of the results was that when people hear information, and they are more likely to remember only, or they are likely to remember only 10% of that information after three days. But however, if you pair image to that same information, they are 65% likely to remember that information 3 days after. And that's also really important, that fill your life with pictures, fill your life with videos, because it's more informative and make your story right. Couple of words about who the heck am I? I graduated from Aalto University, the business school, 2011. As far as one can tell, I did the world's first master thesis on business on video. That was a kind of interesting story because I was in Department of Entrepreneurship, and I went to say my professor that I want to do my thesis on video, and he was like, "What the heck? No, you won't." Then I was I just forget it. All right. Two weeks after, I went to pay a visit him again, and he said, "Not a you again. You still want to do it on video?" "Yes, I am. I'm going to do it on video." And he answered, "No, you're not. No, you're not going to do that." And I was thinking, okay, come on, this is a Department of Entrepreneurship and so on. So I was a little bit disappointed. The third time, he basically yelled at me that, "You again, get out." But then I decided to change the department. I went to actually marketing department, and they said, "All right, let's try this." So that was pretty fun. Yeah, I changed the whole department and did the thesis on basically marketing at the time. That was fun. When we started, we realized, okay, nobody has done it before. So this is quite nice, which kind of lifted up my rim. Okay, this cannot be pretty shitty thesis, master's thesis. So somebody will watch it afterwards. Then I was a researcher in Small Business Center in business school as well for a couple of years. But at the same time, I was running my own video production company. We started out from hobby, but soon we found ourselves to producing television programs and commercials for different kind of brands and so on. I actually produced, for example, Dutton's Home Invasion, which is a Finnish jackass basically, and they're really popular in all over the world basically right now. And it actually won the best, the Finnish Golden Venla, which is Finnish Emmy award basically. So it was pretty okay. Then 2013 I was chosen to in MIP TV in France in Cannes to be these new producers to watch. Basically because I've used a video in such a places that it normally doesn't belong to. But also we did pretty good stuff with television and commercials and so on. So, however, I was totally fed up with commercials, so I decided, okay, I really want to do something else now. I wanted that video is a great tool, but I wanted to kind of guide it to more purposeful, towards more purposeful jobs or tasks, so on. So I decided to found a company called Taylor, and we are totally focused on videographic research, based here in Finland. And 2014, that was basically the year. Now we've gone through over 50 projects and so on, and over 100 different kind of videographies, dependent on the topic. Let's watch a short video so you will get more idea what we're doing. This is our show reel, so let's watch this. It's about 1 minute.
Behind each customer, there is more than a number, more than a statistic. There is life. Every one of us has a different way of viewing the world. We have different experiences, accomplishments, disappointments. We hold unique values, emotions, and dreams, guiding us forward. An understanding about your customers' experiences and thoughts is an invaluable asset. An asset you can build your future success on. Our business is understanding people. We help you feel your customers' experience. Sailor. Insights through video.
Ooh, epic. The biggest counter argument I had when I started to do my thesis in Aalto was that, okay, you mean you're going to shoot on video stuff and make your report out of it? I said, yeah, that's my plan. But the counter argument was that, okay, but you can shoot whatever you like. You can put, you know, you can edit on different, you can use different kind of music, and you can use these angles and so on. Of course, that's not the point. Of course I can do that. But think about text then. If that's the kind of truthful format that we've kind of really used to, think about text. Okay, it goes totally through you. You make decision every word you use. You make the decision how you're going to shed the light to the facts you've been found out and so on. So to that, reflect to that perspective, the video is even more truthful tool to make sense out of the world. And I said that in general, in research, I would say that we should think the world that there is no one truth we are looking at. There is no one reality that we are looking at. But there are multiple realities, so many realities that there are people. There might be even more realities than beyond that if people are mentally ill or something. So it's totally always dependent on who's making the interpretation of the reflection of that world. It's all about who is watching, who is viewing the results, who is reading the results, but also who is making research of that, your reality. We've been really lucky to work with different kind of companies. I'm not going to go there even deeper, but the roots of videographic research is probably in 1920s when anthropologists went to make a research of Inuits, Eskimos. They had these huge film cameras with them. Unluckily, they actually all the films they were destroyed afterwards. But that was probably the first time the film was used in research purposes. Make sense out of the world. But now, when we all have basically smartphones or cameras in our pockets, it's even easier to utilize that in research purposes. The basic idea lies then in idea that picture is more than worth of more than 1,000 words, but video is even more. And if we think about our culture or surroundings, not maybe in Finland, but somewhere, it's like this. It's loud, it's colorful, it's moving, it's all about movement and so on. So I would argue that it would be funny if we won't utilize video as a tool to communicate this culture to everybody else. So, how we do it then? Roughly you can divide it in two phases. The first phase is data collection. We collect the data. It might include interviews. It might include observation. It might even include questionnaires or whatsoever. Then we analyze the data. And we try to figure out what is the story the data tells us. What is the story? Because we understand the world through stories. If we pick up one item out of context, it doesn't matter anything anymore. We always put that in context, and then we understand the world. And that's why we kind of make sense about the world through stories. That is why we want to understand what the data will tell us. What is the story? Then we will move on to video production phase. Normally, let's say that we have 45 in-depth interviews over here, maybe some observations and so on. In that phase, and maybe between these phases, we decide who we want to be on the video, who will tell the story of the whole data There is no necessarily more than 3 to 6 people, maybe. There is no idea to put the 35 people on the same film. Nobody, it's totally boring that way. It doesn't bring anything extra. So the key point here is to find the story, what the data tells us. And then the outcome is normally, in our case, it's normally 5 to 15 minutes short TV documentary-like video, where the people tell their story, but there is huge amount of data behind those stories. Why? Why videos is good tool then? It's all about making the difference on emotional level. I will tell you a short example. We did this one research for a Finnish bakery company, quite large Finnish bakery company, and they had a problem. They had a problem that in certain segment they had a product which had been really popular, but they made some changes to the product, to the how it felt, how was the pricing, how was the recipe, and so on. And the demand of the product started to plummet. And they really wanted to understand what is the problem behind it. Hey! What is the problem behind it? And we did bunch of interviews all over Finland, and then we did the video part. We showed the video. We had a presentation to management board of the company. We showed the video, and it was pretty brutal because they screwed up everything. Basically, the consumers, they thought that it doesn't taste good anymore. It's overpriced. It looks cheap, and so on. So they screwed up everything basically. And we showed up that video for them, and what happens? It's pretty amazing. There were probably 5 people from their side in the presentation. First we showed the video, and then you can basically hear the pin drop. Nobody said nothing. They said nothing, and they were like stunned. First they start to okay. This cannot be true. How did you do your study, and so on. We explained that this is an academically valid way to make a research, and we did this many interviews and so on. We explained it. Then they felt like, okay, maybe this is true. And what happens then? Almost the product owner of this certain product almost cried. It's pretty tough way to see that, okay, I screwed totally, and we missed millions in sales because we screwed up. But what happens afterwards? When they realize, okay, we screwed up, and this is the situation, we have to act. We have to make the world a better place again. They started immediately make the corrections for the whole product. They decided, okay, how marketing is this? How product development is this? Is this possible that way, and so on. So it kind of leads to direct action instead of just pondering, okay, this is the situation. So it's really powerful tool when used right. Of course, it communicates the cultural understanding, like I mentioned. Let's say that we have a Spanish wine company coming to Finland, okay, they consume a lot of wine in Finland. So maybe this is the case beautifully in some great restaurant or something. However, this is some image that somebody might have in their heads. But this might be even closer to the reality. I'm not sure, but once again, images more than 1,000 words. It's also a tool to spread the insight. What are the findings? It's easiest way to watch the video, and you will memorize it. It's easiest way also to spread the insight within the teams. Same thing that you will do it, work in teams here. So it's really good to understand that we are on the same line. This is our basis now. But it's also a good tool to communicate to your all stakeholders and so on. Good example of this, we did probably one of the first clients we had was Icano Bank, which is a bank of IKEA basically. And they have 1,200 employees all over the world. We did the small study in Finland and they were really excited about the study and the results and the whole video. But after 3 weeks, their CEO contacted us and said, okay, this is probably the best way to do research and why we haven't done this before. And now they estimated that 80% of their whole personnel worldwide have seen the video and have seen the insights. Yeah, it's a good tool to convince the stakeholders as well. Now I'm going to show you one example we did. We did this study with Visit Finland, governmental organization, and they are really interested Chinese tourism in Finland. Why? Because Chinese tourism is growing, booming in Finland right now. Amount of tourists coming from China, they are probably up to 300 to 600% per year. So in future it will be great amount of people leaving money to Finland. So they really wanted to understand Chinese tourists, why they're coming to Finland and what are they looking for and how they perceive the world in Finland, how they perceive the service culture and so on. So we decided to approach this from two different angles. The other one was from perspective of Finnish service providers, how they understand Chinese tourism and tourists. And but also from perspective of Chinese travelers. And that's really interesting to kind of point out that those viewpoints are not even close. Let's say that Finnish service providers, they're generally speaking about Asian travelers or tourists. But however, when we turn and discussed with Chinese tourists, they were talking about or saw Finnish people or service providers as Europeans. It doesn't matter if we're from Italian or we're from Estonia or Finland. It doesn't matter. At the same time, service providers thought that okay, Asians. It doesn't matter if it's Korea, if it's Japan or China. We were actually, the project lasts 2 months, and we were one week on field in northern Finland and interviewed, in-depth interviewed 20 Chinese travelers, but also 16 service providers. And we actually had two different reports here. The other one from perspective of service providers, the other one from Chinese. We can watch that. How much I have time? Okay, it's about 6 minutes. So this is I can tell afterwards what happened when we showed this to or launch the results. But let's watch this. You will get better idea of once again of videographic research.
而且芬兰本来我在有读文章有了解到北欧的人可能会有些冷漠，因为天寒地冻地广人稀嘛，说他们人和人之间很有距离感。比如说在巴士上，可能中间如果有空位的话，他们是绝对不会坐在一起的。但我来了以后发现并不是。
我想来芬兰是因为我们在结婚之后，我们10月份结的婚，然后一直在想蜜月的事情，不晓得去哪里。刚开始定的是尼泊尔，后来呢，有一天我姐姐发了一条那个朋友圈转发那个链接，好像我看到了之后我就心动了，我就想来，然后我就跟我老公说了，然后我老公也支持，就来了。
首先芬兰在我们国内就中国游客的心中，我感觉应该都是有一种北欧的童话的感觉。就北欧感觉比别的欧洲国家要更加有神秘感一些。
所以呢，我没有见过雪，没有见过大雪，那么我是非常想去一个充满雪的世界。比如说，首先第一个是滑雪，滑雪的我是比较期待，能有中文教学，因为像滑雪这种相对专业性的一些运动，它有些词汇量是我，这种就只能满足日常生活的英语所不能全部了解的。那么我还是希望这中间的一些教学环节能有一些中文支持，这会让我更好的去理解怎么样去更安全的滑雪。这个是我所期待的。
如果是我愿意滑雪的话，当然是就是有一个私人的教练，他会给你讲解，那么如何教你，就是去慢慢的学会它，这是最好的。因为如果单靠你一个人，肯定是学不会的，对不对？
住酒店的时候就感觉不像国内，他会提供一些比较便利的这个小的这个生活用品啊、服务啊什么的。就像我现在想洗衣服，找个肥皂好像都不太好找，得出去买呀，去干嘛的，这个比较费时间。就是他这个酒店服务这一块就比较简单，然后住的也有点小，我们住的可能是我听说是比较好的一个酒店了。
超过想象，我觉得有一点不好，就是说我觉得像那个游轮里面，感觉那个卫生间特别小，整个房间特别狭小，然后那个玻璃屋也是都没有就是淋浴的地方，因为我们从集体火车，然后就是没有洗澡，对不对？然后又要坐游轮，就是也非常简单的洗了个澡，然后就觉得又到到那个玻璃屋之后又没有澡洗，就觉得特别。
反正目前我们就是特别想看北极光，然后还没有看到。就是北极光，当然也是天意嘛。如果是说北极光预测这一块儿，能不能就是再有什么先进一点的方法呀？或者在什么范围看啊，什么时间点啊？要是说有一些指导，就是更好一些。然后我觉得它比较单调，然后就是它比较讲究原汁原味，它的口味上可能比较清淡，然后餐厅里可能都没有备辣椒啊什么的。如果想自己这个加一点什么东西的话，就比较难。你像中国要喝粥啊这些，这也都没有。然后就是它的早餐，可能你住一个酒店，它每天就是那些东西，那就靠你的自由搭配啊这样的。然后正餐的话，也就是那么几样，就来回换。我就感觉单调是一个主要问题。
从我在芬兰这几天的感受来看，我觉得这边的服务人员，每个地方服务人员确实数量并不是非常多，但是我觉得提供的服务质量是非常好的，而且很多地方其实从我的观点来看，很多事情确实是可以通过自助的方式来解决的，比如说在商场买一些水果等等这些东西，我可以自助打秤或者是在一些餐厅用餐，比如说我可以自己将一些东西清洁一下，或者是 在一些旅游项目，比如说我需要穿一些雪地装备，那么它提供一些指引给我，我其实可以自己去完成一些操作的。其实我并不觉得需要去增加一些服务人员。可能说实话，有些国家来的游客可能会比较习惯于很多劳动力的服务，他们会觉得周围很多服务人员去帮助你，他会觉得非常舒服。但是在我的感觉里，我并没有这种需求。
前2天昨天在圣诞村买了明信片，当时我发了条朋友圈，我说谁想要那个明信片，夸夸夸夸一大排都想要那个明信片，然后但是我只寄了4张，因为它关门了，5点钟就关门了，还不寄了。然后还买了很多冰箱贴，我们上面就是印着极光的、玻璃屋的，圣诞老人的这些东西。最好是国内的银联卡能刷。然后最好能够什么支付宝啊、微信啊都可以，这样的话就对于我们来说比较便捷一点。
除了冬季以外，我对芬兰还会感兴趣的季节，其实确实是夏季。夏季，据我所闻，会有遍地的莓果，会有非常美妙的森林，就是万物复苏之后，各种植被和植物都会承担起来。那么绿色的森林其实我是蛮喜欢的，因为在中国我是经常会徒步去到山林里面。那么我能看到的，因为我在雪地里，我是看到有非常多的动物脚印的，各种各样的动物。那么我认为在夏天来这边徒步旅行，也会遇到非常非常多的小动物，这是让我非常期待的。
我觉得会再来芬兰的，原因是破冰船跟极光没有看到，没有做到。
我从到芬兰第1天开始就不停地发朋友圈，大家都很期待看到这个不一样的世界。我肯定会跟他们推荐的，而且他们不用我推荐，他们都在追着我要照片呢。都很喜欢看到这个像童话一样的洁白的世界啊。我是很喜欢芬兰，我的小孩也很喜欢，我很爱芬兰，我爱北极圈。
That was one part of the report we did. How did you like it? Any comments?
Are you choosing the people you are using in the video by some kind of like average of data you have collected, or how are you choosing?
Well, I tried to avoid the word average, but somehow yes. Depends what is in the data. What is the story that data tells us? And depends. Of course, those ones are the persons that we use to tell the whole story. So they are all the main themes that we wanted to raise up in the report from Chinese travelers' perspective, and then. But to answer your questions, somehow yes. We also need to figure out who is a person suitable for the video in terms of opinions, but also in terms of how they speak, for instance, or because somebody might be really camera shy, for instance, and that might be a problematic when you take your cameras out. Yes, we did, and then that's really problematic. I go once a year in France to have this workshop with professors, and they normally ask, what is the most problematic phase when you are doing research? It's always access to people you're making research of. In this case, it was really difficult to find right people. Okay, if you think an average Chinese traveler, they have a minute schedule during the whole stay, and it's really hard to, find the time that they want to spend with you, 1 or 2 hours. So it's really difficult. We probably at the time we basically stopped every Chinese people we could find in northern Finland. And we did that actually in Ruka. We did every one of them because we knew who are staying and where. So we basically tried to contact them beforehand. We went there and so on. So good. But what happened afterwards? We probably had 3 presentations in different kinds of situations with Visit Finland. And one of the problematic here from perspective of service providers, because the Chinese driver's license doesn't work in Finland. It's not valid in Finland, or it used to be that way. When we actually did our last presentation, one of the audience was probably 600 people related to traveling industry. And there was this one lady ask a question. I want to make a point that I'm representative of Finnish government who is taking care of driver's license and so on. And based on this, we have fastened our track to make the change that Chinese driver's license is valid in the future in Finland. And if I'm not wrong, from the beginning of 2018, it's now valid in Finland. So that's kind of concrete. I don't say that we caused it, but we definitely made it faster. What happened then? University of Applied Sciences of Saimaa took this whole material as an entrance exam material to their program, and those where the page under visitfinland.fi where we placed the videos was most visited video in 3 weeks in a row when we launched the results after the front page of Visit Finland. And that's kind of really historical result in the sense that thousands of people have seen this, instead of that we would have had only written reports somewhere hidden on their website. So, if you're making research, make sure that you use video. I'm not sure if Mika is on the same line here, but hopefully. And yeah, questions, comments?
Yes. So you do your research and then you make this insight video. So do you also have the written report for like more to validate your insights?
We do have a kind of PowerPoint presentation, but not like written report, because nobody reads them. Unfortunately, I have to disappoint, nobody reads them in school either. I'm not sure about Mika, but yeah, kind of squeezed in visual information. Also, we want to make those reports as visual as possible as well.
What do you do then in a case like you told of the bakery thing, if the customer doesn't believe in what you show with the video, and they want to have like facts of your research, that how did you end up in this? So how do you like?
Good point. Good point. Of course, we learned a lot after that, especially that if the results are really negative, we want to kind of give heads up for our client that, okay, there might be some really brutal stuff coming up, and don't be shocked, and we can show it to limited audience first and so on to make right choices how we continue from here. Because it's not a good thing for nobody if you smash somebody's face in front of management board. It's not good for anybody. But we also want to make sure that the client always knows what they are buying. We show examples, and this is how we're going to do it. We want to be, fully open what we're doing and so on. And we also welcome them if they want to take part to different kind of parts of our process and so on. Except to actual filming, because we have noticed that if the client is present in the situation we make the film, it's going to change the answers that people are making. So we don't want to. Yeah. Oh.
I think everything have pros and cons, and it applies to the videos. So it is definitely faster and leaves stronger impression on people when you are showing something dramatic. But writings, I would say, it's needed when you want to explain some logic behind something, or when you want to explain some examples. So it's just general question. Do you feel the need of the writing sometimes on your research, or?
Of course, I would say that the writing, it won't disappear. It's a good tool to bring out something like you mentioned, that if you need to explain something deeply, or it has its pros. I'm not going to say that the video will replace the writing, but it will definitely bring something extra to the writing. So from this perspective, I see now the film is really informative add-on to writing. We are not there yet that we could have only video reports all over the place. I would say that especially in Finland, we are in terms of business, we are really number believers. We believe in numbers, we manage through numbers, and so on. So of course that has an effect how we sell and how people are buying what we do. Good question, really good. You first and then you.
Have you done any research where you've asked a question on video and then the same question has been given for someone to write about, and seen if the writing matches what they would do on the video, or vice versa?
What do you mean in?
So like, do you have research showing that maybe when people write, they maybe don't reveal everything, or when they are on video, they don't reveal everything, or vice versa?
Do you mean the actual practice of filming somebody, that they won't be openly tell something about how they felt, for instance? Yes, of course. It's a really difficult issue, especially if we're making research of, let's say, personnel in certain company, for instance. They might be really scared to give openly feedback of their supervisor, for instance. And of course we need to consider those issues, and it's a lot about making the situation, the actual filming situation, really natural and really empathic. Is that a right word? Empathic. And kind of that you the informant or the participant is the king or queen of the situation, and we are kind of following her or his kind of, we don't want to push the limits or so on. But of course there are problems, but I would say that it's a short way from basic interview to video interview. Of course, if you want to be nameless in, I don't know why, but from personal reasons, for instance. So it might be tricky on video. However, there are some tools. We've done certain kind of videos that we won't show somebody's face, for instance, but we still use the audio or the voice of the person, and it's really powerful even though that way. But it's also a result, I would say, that somebody in certain contexts, they won't give the face or name to openly to research. So, good question. Then you, Hedda.
Yes, so I suppose when you get a client, they already kind of know how you work and what they are getting into. But like you already said, like especially in management, many people are very number focused, and they will be like, I'm here in this meeting, I give you 5 minutes, give me the hard facts, no bullshit kind of approach. Like, how do you handle those people who might not be up to sit through a stylistic video?
We're lucky because in management teams there are normally more than 4 or 5 persons, and that's the kind of key. There is always somebody who believes in emotions and emotional aspect or qualitative market research more than numeric. And also we have to remember that qualitative market research or qualitative research in general answers to different questions than numeric ones. And let's say I have a good example of this. One of my colleagues, they made a personnel study of this for this one company. And there was one professional basketball player and CEO. The CEO was probably 140 kilos, really, you know, retired guy almost, and both answered to, and the other one was really athletic. Both answered to the question, would you like to increase your activity level from scale 1 to 5? Both answered 4, and that's the problematic thing with numbers, because everybody's 4 is different. It doesn't give you, it gives the total just average but nothing extra, and that's where the world comes really problematic. There is no certain reality that we can look at only through numbers.
How do you handle bias through imagery and audio? So let's say if you have, they were talking about how they were a little bit complaining about the hotels, and then you showed a picture of lovely Finland. But what if they were talking about hotels and they're complaining about, and then there was a terrible image afterwards? Won't that kind of skew the way they view the data and how, like, the overall arching idea of what's being said?
Yeah, good question, really good question. I think, like from philosophical standpoint, you cannot separate the researcher from the topic that you're making research of. It's all about you making your own choices. What is the best guideline or the kind of rule you need to lean on is ethics, so that you're not trying to say something else that it's result of your analysis. So that's the key thing. But we are not saying that we are kind of reflecting the truth. Here it is, like it is. It might include whatever B-roll material. In this case, it's a little bit problematic because we didn't have time with them to spend some time to have a nice B-roll material to fill up the film. But the best guide is to follow your kind of ethics, and also that you're not trying to you know, skew the whole data. It's always there that you have to be, you have to kind of be kind to yourself as well, and make sure that you're making best out of what you have.
Continue on that topic, because I find really hard to be data neutral in general. Like even with written papers, there's always some people discussing the ethics of it just because of the framing. But when you involve emotion in that level, aren't you by default adding a certain level of bias to the speech of that person with the image and the song and whatever you decide to add to that point?
Good question, but it's the same thing here. You cannot separate the research process or research or facts. What is the facts? You have multiple truths here. There is no one objective truth that you can reflect to somebody else, because they have different perspective. So it's always, of course, we can choose what we could use heavy metal background, but you have to be critical to yourself why what is the reason you would use that kind of music, for instance?
But is that clear for the client or the public or whoever? That's my point. It's not, because when you're talking about framing in research, of course, there's usually like some small letters or somewhere where there's going to be clear that that's going to be looked at through this perspective and not this other one. That's why mostly they're so annoying to read, because there is so much justification of the process. And I find that, do you give that somehow in any form to the viewer or the client?
Good point. In this point, I would love to separate the kind of academic research and also market research in terms of what we're doing in private sector. It's totally different. And of course, we want that our client understands what we are doing and how we see the world. But when they decide to start the project with us, they know that already. We want to underline that they know what we are heading at and what is the outcome they will have.
I think maybe by doing research by video is like a new concept, and for a company like this, I think it's normally from not a big scale, it's like from small scale. But for the market research I saw, it's like come from like, it's like a Chinese market research. But when you do, it's like different culture. You have to conquer the problem of culture bias. So if the company is not that big scale, how do you figure out the problem of different cultures?
Really good question. That is why we want to use local researchers, somebody who has a understanding of that culture. Yeah. Like in this case, we had a native Chinese researcher working with us. And because it's always, when we're talking about different cultures, it's always mix match in a sense, that we need to go deeper, we need to understand what's behind the scenes, and that's why we use local researcher. Now we are running actually this international study in 6 different countries, and in each country we have a local researcher who is analyzing the data we're collecting.
Great.
More.
Yeah, just a bit of a boring question about cost efficiency. I'd like to know how much more time and money it takes to do it on video.
I love that question. That's normally what our clients ask us for. It's not that much expensive that is kind of people are assuming. Let's say that normally this kind of project starts from 20,000 and up, but compared to traditional qualitative market research, the gap is, let's say, 20 to 30% of the whole budget. So, or even smaller in some cases, depends of the project, of course.
What is the main channel that you've advertised your services through? Has it been more word of mouth once you've done a few projects, then you've maybe been social media or some other media, or do you actually actively go and sell the idea to companies? Do you have some sort of expos or something? I don't know.
Good question. We try to be active in social media. If you're on Facebook, we're there, and Siler, I think you will find us. It's really hard because we are a small startup. We are not that many people and we have small budgets and so on. So it's a lot of footwork. It's a lot of spreading information, spreading our word in this kind of situation, for instance. Hopefully years after you're going to, or maybe this year even, you're going to buy research and then you know that, okay, this is option. This is how we inspire our people to be more human-centric, for instance. And it's a really difficult task. But let's say this year will be best year ever before, and it's really nice to go see somebody who you haven't seen before and they said, I've heard about you. And that's like, oh yes, somebody heard about you. And that's kind of big win for us.
I was wondering if you, in your research you also include like behavior research, or it's just the interview part, or it's just not like people is talking, but also you can see how they really behave in that context.
Definitely, and unfortunately this was a pretty bad example of that, because it's normally it's all about practice. The best, more informative it gets when somebody's telling something and you can point out in practice what are they doing. And that's the funny part, when you can spot out the differences. They are talking something else and doing something else. And that is, compared to traditional qualitative market research, for instance, it's really difficult to spot. But on video, it's really easy to spot those differences. So normally we want to include practices, but in this case it was problematic, let's say, put it that way.
So all the material that you record, so at the end of a project, does that remain with you, or is everything given to the client and becomes the client's property?
Interesting question. Why do you want to know?
Because no, I was thinking if you, for example, conduct some of your own research on that material. For
we could, but it's not ethical. Okay. So we're following the rules of or guidance of SMR, which is the international, I don't know, network of researchers, and it's not allowed to collect the data to some other purpose and make research to something else, kind of out of it. But we see that as that video production part. It's in legal terms, it's taken out of the context of the research. It's a video production, so in legal terms. So it's different from there. But the whole other data, we can give it to our clients, but normally they don't want to have it. So we will have that in say for 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah, because I was thinking more from like if some other researchers want to build on top of your existing data, do you have any publicly available data for researchers in this field, for example?
Not too much. Okay. The problem is here when we work with companies, normally it's for their internal purposes only. And then that's because Visit Finland is a governmental organization, they can show it publicly and so on. So that's really problematic, what comes to the marketing part, because we don't have that much to show people that this is how we can do it. One more question?
About the data collection part, you said that you actually go for the Chinese people who come from the visit. Do you think that data collection should consider some parts, for example, a different age, different beliefs, and these sorts of things?
Well, yeah, but once again, we are doing qualitative market research. It's all about what is the research problem and how we approach it. If we're making numeric study, of course, we want to have a really versatile sample and so on. But in this case, it doesn't matter that much. Is that it? Do we have... Is time up? No. Do we still have time?
Okay,
one more quick question. Somebody? Just wait for Mike, that people from Copenhagen can hear you.
Do you ever use actors on your results, or are they all the people that are their real opinions?
We never use actors. We believe in authenticity, that we want to communicate the results in authentic manner. And that's also related to power of videos we make. And it's always about real people in real situation, never ever actors or anything. Good. Super. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Handbook. Fantastic.
Was it? A bit?
5 minutes kind of breather, and you know what's going to happen next. No. Challenge. Review. Challenge review. Yeah, exactly. So, challenge review in 5 minutes.
Ah. Kiitos. Kiitos. Kiitos.
Kiitos.
Hyvin tuli kysymyksiä. Uskon sen olevan hyvä merkki.
Se on tosi hyvä teksti se, että
Just näin. Just näin. Mutta tää oli oikein.
pitkään odotettu.
Mäkään haluan jäädä kattoo tää.
Jos totta kai.
Miten jengi ottaa vastaan.
Hello, hello.
There is the concept form.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that was a time because they actually the final obstacle I had when I was turning the pieces in. They called me from the library. Okay, how are we going to put this on anywhere? I said that it's not my problem.
Okay, I'll go and set up the.
And their decision was that they wanted to DVD, so it's on DVD.
Team roles first,
somewhere
right?
between.
Let me show you.
So is it like book,
Yeah.
book, DVD?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. But there was actually a written word.
Yeah.
Just hope.
Yeah, I think it's because it's not online.
So is it?
What a waste.
But that's probably a good thing.
Was it a lot more difficult to do it on video because you have to submit a report?
Yeah, so first it's gonna be like the teams, the challenges, and then the team tasks. So we have them like well actually.
Now it's the reverse.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We are live actually all the time. Huh. Joo. Siitä tulee iltapäivällä viestiä. Toi Adi on käynyt testaa sitä ja se nyt pitäisi toimia. Meillä on touchbase, eli siitä tulee iltapäivästä speksejä.
Tänään iltapäivästä?
Tänään iltapäivällä, joo. Et mun pitää Adin kanssa soitella sit, kun me ollaan tää sessio saatu vedettyä läpi.
Okei.
Et sit tulee speksit.
Eli me ei päästä ollenkaan sinne yrityksiin käymään sitten?
Joo. Siis se on, joo, ja sit tulee. Joo. Do you have a USB-C hub? Yeah, like one of these. But we don't really need this one anymore, actually. Okay.
Well, I have that at home.
Okay. So I'm gonna switch this one off now.
You don't need it?
Well, the thing is, I need this one. Oh.
Oh, I still have, but it's only one USB. Is that enough?
No. Well, I need the screen as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
How we shed out light to different things, of course, and then what is the best way, or what is the best practice to do this? And we are, in every case, we are learning all the time how it should be.
What the fuck? Where's my magical pointer? Oops. Oh, sorry. What the fuck?
Researcher or like impact measurement based on like whether if a company adopts like video research as opposed to not, how does that affect whether they take action or not?
That's almost impossible to kind of measure or point. We think that the video research,
or you can actually drive all the way to Denmark, like.
Okay, let's start. Can you come with the beep, 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 with the magic box?
Drive 6 hours a day, so that was understand like why people behave how they behave and like the emotion behind it and like
Okay, shall we continue? All right. Hi again. Hello. it's been a long day, but quite intense. But we are almost ready. We have half an hour, and now is the moment everyone has been more or less waiting for. How much? This much? This much? Too much. Okay, yeah, I see where you're going. Okay. In case you forgot your team, moving around so much, I've been trying to kind of build up my suspense building skills, but I really can't. I'm trying my best now. So remember, this is like the third time running the course. 2016, there was a pop-up restaurant. 2017, outer space. 2018. Oh. Get on with it. Okay, okay. Let's see. Copenhagen. Sustainable Development Goals. So now you are taking action to the city, claiming ownership on this city. What kind of issues we can solve today in our city to create positive impact 5 years from now? So really trying to identify challenges within Copenhagen and in your case in Helsinki. So you'll be contributing to Helsinki city scene or Copenhagen, trying to make your city a better place. And we are actually building on something fantastic. Can you explain Sampoyoshi? Have you heard of this before? Sampoyoshi. Yeah. A friend of mine told, this is a Japanese concept from the 1900s. It's a long time ago. So this comes from this idea that business people, when they were conducting business, they weren't thinking about money first, but they were seeing value in us, like in the company, then the client, and then the society. So overlapping these, so creating value. Thank you so much, Hannu. Yeah, so, and since we are like a bunch of people from different disciplines, value in this sense will be multidisciplinary impact. So bring in your expertise, generate some dangerous ideas, really, cause some trouble in the city in a good sense. I don't want anyone going to the jail or prison or, yeah. And then to showcase what you're actually proposing, Pechakucha presentation, 20 slides, 20 seconds each. So 6 minutes, 40 seconds, team presentation. But now, there's one question still remaining. Who gets to solve what kind of challenges? It's pretty vague still, right? So you still remember your team number, right? Okay. Oh, look at it. This is like the most beautiful table I've ever created. It's a, yeah, it's a masterpiece. Okay, are you ready for the first challenge? Yep. Yes. So, Dia is going to be drawing lots. So for the next, or the first challenge, there's going to be 3 teams. No poverty. Oh, like, oh, no poverty. 1. Okay, 1.
14. 14. 9.
9. Do you still remember like the 7, 8, 9? That was a really bad joke. Second one, gender equality. Ah. Dun. So the next, sorry?
Why the number is 5?
It's the Sustainable Development Goal number 5.
no.
You guys know that, like the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, so there are 17 and this is number 5. Okay, so we have 13.
13, 2.
And 10.
10. It's like okay. We still have plenty of challenges, you know, like. Okay. So actually, we got the first challenge to Copenhagen, 13.
Yes, and 14. Oh no.
14. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready? Joo. That's like one of the most handy Finnish words. Joo.
The only word I know.
Yes. Joo. Okay. Are we ready for the next one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Reduced inequalities. Number 10.
7. Five and 6.
Oh wow.
Oh, 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. That's 18. There's no deeper meaning there. Okay. Next. Okay. Remember hashtags if you're taking pictures.
3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Sustainable cities and communities. So 3.
8.
Oh. 8. Okay. Be careful now because then we have 2 remaining teams afterwards, so they also get to know.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So make it fast, please.
11.
11.
Yeah.
Oh. And finally, responsible consumption and production. Sold to teams.
I don't know what teams are called already.
4.
4 and
2.
no 2 was up to 12.
12. So, there we have it. And now for the community part of the course. So, everyone wrote down their team. We're going to be sharing this, updating Gia has been super awesome in updating the course handbook. So you'll find your team there.
Currently updating in Instagram.
Okay, so we move on to the community aspect. So like yesterday I mentioned that learning takes place in individual, team and cohort level. So this is like a collective effort. So you're going to be organizing an event. Everyone, that was kind of clear from yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a multi-sensory event celebrating your solutions to pressing societal challenges. And it's really up to you to decide how do you define multi-sensory. Ticket price has been fixed. 10 euro students, 15 general. But then what you do with the money is really up to you, within ethical limits, of course. And we have designed the tasks. So each team gets a task. And the idea is that you can't go solo, so you need to negotiate. So for example, the methods that you were practicing today with Katriina, for example, they can be utilized to make sure that everyone is on board. Okay? And the reason some of you, you must be actually wondering why Adi is not here. Well, he's been busy with the VR company making it work. And more info on that and other practicalities coming in this evening in Teams. But these are like the groups. So basically, because you can't have everyone at the same time in the VR space. So this is for the VR coordinators only. And we also share these on Teams. Are we ready now for that? Okay. Okay. So you saw the tasks. And there's also more description about these in the handbook, in case you're wondering. Okay. Oh wait, one more. Okay. Whoa. So, okay, are you ready for the lottery? No, no. No. No, this is the fun part as well. So we have pre-assigned Copenhagen and Slush teams already due to their limitations, physical and time-wise. But otherwise, for the rest 11 teams, now we're going to be drawing lots. Shall we start with number 1?
Yeah.
Okay. So team number 1.
Cleaning team.
Cleaning 1. Number 2.
Cleaning team 2.
Okay. 3. Drinks. Okay. Number 4. Where's actually team 4? Kind of dispersed. Okay.
Venue team 1.
Venue 1. Number 5.
Venue 2.
It's kind of organized. Number 6.
Multisensory 1.
Okay. Multisensory 1. Where's team number 6? Okay. MS 1. Number 7.
Multisensory
2. Number 8.
Ticketing.
Do you what? Ticketing. 9.
Hosts.
Hosts. Hosts. Hosts. Okay. And 11.
SWAT.
SWAT. So where's 11? Okay. 11 SWAT. That's it. Cool. So everyone got their assigned, like the team roles, team tasks, and your challenge. So this is basically the turning point now. So it's been quite organized, kind of this machine gun style these first 2 days, but now it's really like we are handing it over to you now. So we are still like, it's not going to be laissez-faire, not even close. But now it's really up to you to shape the course. So this is where you kind of set the stage, and we go to the background. We support you and guide you in the process, but now it's really up to you to make the course look the way you want. Okay. And we have set up a Facebook event page, all crucial information, so we are going to hand them over to you, like all the relevant teams, so you can start making things happen. And remember, the event will be open for everyone. That's why the ticket prices. It feels like a deer, like this deer in the headlights. How do you feel about this? Yes.
The event was taking place at the Design Factory.
Ah, that's a good, yeah. It's gonna take place in Games Factory. Yeah, so it's behind Maria 01, one of the venues where we have these workshops. We'll share information on that as well. It's a really, really nice space. Anything else? Yes.
What does VR have to do with this? Talking about VR.
Yeah, so the idea is that last year, when we had the teams from Copenhagen as well, they did not have access to the physical venue up until the last week when they joined us. So the idea here is that you can collaborate in the same space. So it's more inclusive practice. And also you can visit that more often, because when you think about this is like a co-working space where you have companies during the day, so it kind of takes away the burden from those, so you won't be disturbing those guys. Yeah. Yes.
What about like cleaning and food team? Do we need to
Mm-hmm. All coordinators.
So where would you do with the video sessions if we're a cleaning team? Like imagining our cleaning there?
That's really up to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have same topic from the group in Copenhagen? Why do we have like in what subject do we have to like collaborate with?
So Copenhagen. Wait, slash team marketing. Copenhagen marketing floor. Yeah. So those are the responsibilities. But this will be in the handbook as well. Yeah. And then, yes, please.
So basically in the event we just make the presentations?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 6 minutes, 40 seconds then. Yeah.
Related to ticketing, how many persons or how many tickets should we submit or have enough for 3 to more than 100?
It depends on like, you know, how big the space is. So it's really up to you, like how you want to design the space. So I think it can take up to 100 people, for example, or it's really up to you, like within safety limitations, of course. Yeah.
As a venue team, do we have a budget to use to set up the venue, for example?
Or the food?
No. 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 But this is where it comes, like, you know, the point is that, you know, we are going to share information about, so you don't, like, the point is that, you know, you don't have to come up with food or drinks. So the venue is arranged. That's something that, you know, you don't have to cover. But think about it as like, you know, what kind of companies, for example, you want to come there to offer services. So we are going to be in Teurastamo tomorrow with the with the cooking slam, and one of the owners of that place, he's one IDBM alumni, and he runs a restaurant there. So he might be one potential contact to say like, hey, why don't you come and provide food there and, you know, sell it there, or so it's not like really, you know, go and make enough like quesadilla, for example, or yeah. Anything else? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Dia is going to talk about them in a minute. Anything else? Yes.
Yeah, so about the cleaning, so do we hire a company to clean or do we clean ourselves? Or is that also up to us?
I mean, it's really all up to you.
And
like,
that also doesn't
yeah.
have a budget?
No. No. But think about this as this is like a collective effort. So it's not really about, you know, how much money do we have, but what can we do collectively to make this happen? You know, there's 50 people. How do you get them on board to help with cleaning, for example? So just because we have 2 cleaning teams doesn't mean that those are the responsible people like doing cleaning and no one else does nothing else. One had a point.
Yeah, so the thing about cleaning is that you don't necessarily need to clean. You can arrange things so that it's easier for guests to dispose of things so that you don't need to clean in the end. So just, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
And if you want to use estimate from last year, we had like 80 guests who turned up for our event at Kelohani. So you can use that as an example of how you would do your ticketing. But, yeah. And also, like Mika mentioned, the money that you have, the revenue, you can also channel that into some other places. Like if you really need money to say like food or drinks or whatever. Yep, it's up to you as a community to decide how you want to use the money that you get from all the ticketing. Everything else has been paid for, so you don't have to worry about that. Just figure out how you're going to execute the event. For example, Van last year picked up the phone and called somebody to get us t-shirts. So you can think about how you want to get sponsorship and try and make some magic.
And if you have more like questions like this, I mean, we are here to answer and all, like, you know, bounce ideas. So just because we are giving agency or like, you know, this task to you now doesn't mean that, you know, we are going to be like, don't come and talk to us, but we are here. You know, if you want to test ideas, if you want some tips or contacts, whatnot, we are here. Yeah. Yes, please.
Can we do joint sessions with the other teams working on the same topics?
What do you mean, joint?
Can we exchange our ideas with them and
Are you referring to your presentations or your project?
Yeah, your project or time.
It's up to
Yeah.
you, however you want it.
Yeah.
But in the end, every team needs to have a presentation.
Hmm. Anything else? Okay. But you know what to do if you come up with any other questions. Places.
Yep.
Your.
Do I?
Oh, you can just switch. Just leave it there.
So over the course of tomorrow and Thursday, your teams will be doing individual research based on the organizations that you picked. So what you're going to do is that you're going to visit these companies, and they're all like different timings. So just look at which organization you'll be at. The address is there, the time is there. If you have any other questions, you can ask me. For the / team, I will give separate instructions later. The teams that we're working with, there's Inland Design from Imagery. Those of you who gave me your contact details yesterday, name, nationality, you're the ones going to this organization. And then there is U6, so that's from 9 to 11 tomorrow. Most of the sessions are tomorrow morning, because in the afternoon you have a separate event that everybody has to attend. And then, so these are the other organizations that you'll be at. There is the City of Helsinki Youth Department, that's from 10:30 to 11:30 tomorrow. Plan International, it overlaps a little bit with the cooking slam in the afternoon, but you don't have to worry about it. You can just show up at the Rastamo a little bit later because it's around the corner. And then the people going to Ohjamo, that's on Thursday afternoon. So that's the teamwork session, and there is no program for Thursday afternoon, so you'll be going there. Any questions so far? You'll have all these information inside the handbook. Yep.
So if we don't have anything tomorrow morning, like if we don't have a company visit, then we're free?
Yep, you're essentially free, but then I would also recommend that as a team, you can decide on what kind of questions you want to know from, like what you want to ask from the organizations. So before going to the company visits or organization visits, do a little bit of background research. I've already put in a little bit of these, like what they do, but then I think it would be also useful for you to figure out like what are the questions you can ask them. This is your best opportunity to figure out what they're doing and try and kind of correlate that to what are the topics that you chose before. So for example, I've also had a little bit of an explanation of what your each like sustainable development goals sort of mean. Think of how you can apply that to the organizations and kind of use the organizations as a ground for research. Anyone has questions?
So for visiting the company, we go as a team, or?
Yes, so that's one more thing that unfortunately, because there's such a big group, we recommend that the VR coordinator or whoever you choose in your group, we only can accommodate 4 per group. So if your group has like a 5th person, the 5th person might not need to go if you have something on. Or if the person's already doing like VR, he or she can do the VR stuff as well.
So yeah, 4 per team. And then there are also some like telephone numbers for the coordinators if you need to have access to the places. All the addresses are there. If you need any other information, you can ask me. Any questions? Oops. Yeah.
What time is the cooking slam?
So the cooking slam starts at 2.
Our visit will be until 2:30?
Yep. So that's the organization that's round the corner from Terastamo, where the cooking slam will be. You will be like half an hour late, but don't worry about it. And all of the sessions are recorded. They are streamed to YouTube. So if you miss anything, you can catch up there. Yeah. Any other? Yeah.
So at these company visits, is there some sort of like, are they briefed on what we're going to maybe be asking them or something like that? Or are we going there and they're going to be like, hey, who are you?
Okay, good question. So I've liaised with all of the coordinators from there. They are ready to welcome you. We've already sent them the SDGs that we've chosen, which means that they already kind of know what kind of projects you'll be working on. They will be presenting to you in English what their organization does, what kind of challenges they're doing, what kind of things they are currently in progress, what kind of issues they're trying to tackle, etc., etc. But if you don't have like the answers from them from the presentation already, that's where it's up to you to ask the questions. So think of it as a mini kind of like interview session for you to figure out what you want to find out from them. Anyone else? Yep.
Sorry, I don't understand. Is this completely separate from the pedagogical chat, or is the pedagogical chat just tied together?
It's tied together. So use these organizations as a platform for your research, and then tie them back into whatever you're going to do for your chosen sustainable development goal. The point is that often when we come up with solutions, they are not tied to reality. We want you to see what these organizations are doing so that you can come up with something a bit more tangible, implementable. Yeah.
So do we only meet them once, or do we keep up with the communication with the companies?
Sorry, what do you say? Again.
So do we only meet them once, like tomorrow or tomorrow Thursday?
Mm.
Do we keep up with the communication?
Okay. Yeah, so the thing is, whatever you're working on for your projects does not need to be for this company. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to use them as like a ground to build your case on, or whether you want to do something that's completely different. But if you want to continue working with the company, you can also speak to a coordinator. I have all of their contacts inside there. Anyone else? Any questions? This is the best time to ask. No? Yes? No? Mm.
Just about the project, so
yep.
We should be focusing on like the Helsinki or Copenhagen scope.
Yes.
Because I saw that the description of, for example, poverty said that we still have a long way to go. There are still 800 million people out there who are still living under poverty. But
good question.
Make sure that our scope is in Helsinki.
Yes, correct. So whatever goals you've picked, I know it's because it's from the UN, it's kind of like worldwide, right? But then try and limit that scope to how it would be applicable to the city of Helsinki, or if you're in Copenhagen, Copenhagen. And then use that as a basis, see what people are doing. What is the definition of poverty in Helsinki? Think of these kind of things.
Is it ideal to come up with like one solution, or
Well, it really depends on your team. If you want to come up with something on a strategic level, you can come up with something on a strategic level. If you want to come up with something that's implementable as a NGO or social enterprise, it's also up to you. I think that's the beauty of this project, that it's so open, you can choose how you want to deliver it. Anyone else?
And we can find everything from the handbook.
Yes, so today there will be a second update of the handbook. What you got before was a pre-challenge handbook. So that was all the information you needed to know before. And then now I'll send you a second handbook, which has all of these stuff, including all the teams. So as you can see here, there's like your team number, what time you're supposed to turn up. And those people going to Ohamo on Thursday, do note that there are 2 teams. So one team is at 1 o'clock, the next team is at 2:30. Yep. take note of all these things, and then if there's anything else that you need to know, you can always send me an email or text me. Cool? Yep. Also, some of you also asked, like, what are the team roles? And for example, for cleaning team, I know I was from cleaning team last year, so I know how you feel. It's just a bit like, what am I supposed to do? I don't have anything to do till the end. But yeah, so all these stuff are all inside the handbook.
So we can't leave the place like totally trashed?
Of course not.
I think it's a fair point.
Yeah.
Coming the next day, then I'll
yeah.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. You'll have all these later. I will send it inside. Does everyone have access to Microsoft Teams now? Yes? You know? Okay, let's figure that out later. Yep. Okay, so those of you who don't have any questions, don't have any issues with Microsoft Teams, these will be up there. And Mika will give you info on cooking stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem. This thing is so heavy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Spooky. All right, almost ready to wrap up, but any thoughts about today?
It was fun.
Okay. I had fun too. Anything else? What? Okay, that counts as a reaction. Okay. What? Anything? Okay. So collectively we'll be meeting in Flavor Studio, map in the Handbook, Cooking Slam 2 o'clock. Some of you joining a bit late, that's completely fine. Enjoy the inspiration, data collection, fieldwork phase in the morning, those of you who are doing that. And then on Teams, we'll be sharing links, access to the Facebook event page, contacts to key people, and VR guidelines. So everything like kind of more flesh around the bones to help you get kick-started. And if you have any additional questions, like one last year, he asked me like, okay, we need some money for the T-shirts. So these kind of questions, if you have any ideas, like any questions whatsoever. Yeah. Yes.
Do we have the VR session tomorrow at 10 o'clock?
No. There's going to be more guidelines this evening, but yeah. Okay. And now for the... What?
This evening. Meaning what?
Guidelines this evening. Yeah. So nothing, no sessions, guidelines. Okay.
Posted where?
What? Sorry?
Posted where?
Teams.
Teams.
Our favorite spot.
So that's where if we have to get any sort of information, it's going to be on Teams, right? Like for these kind of like these slides and all that, that's going to be on Teams.
Yeah. And we'll help you kind of get there. Yeah. Yes? Okay.
Like, where is it if we need any material, is it going to be on the ITs?
What channels do we have?
Because we have the website, there is a blog as well, and there is my courses, and there is the Teams there.
We don't have anything in my courses.
Yeah, no, I know, I checked.
Okay, so so that's not a channel, right? Website, Teams. Website has all the episodes, all the blogs, the podcasts, and then because we can't share openly those articles, they are all in Teams. So basically, last year Teams was supposed to be kind of this collaboration platform, but it doesn't work, right? Yeah. So now it's more like a repository of, it's like a documentation of the process. Okay. Is it clear? How clear? How can we make it more clear? Okay. Please do. If you have any ideas, exactly, this is what I mean. If you have ideas how to improve, thanks for letting us know.
Is it first time we try VR for
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yes.
Can you create a Slack channel so that for the no more
It's really up to you guys, like how you want to communicate. I mean, I can only recommend. I shouldn't be saying this officially, but Teams doesn't really work for that kind of. So if you have something that gathers everyone, please use that. Yeah. Anything else? Oh wait. Yeah. Okay.
As the person who is responsible for the VR, should we supposed to like explain everything to the teammates, or we are doing the communication with the people in Denmark by ourselves, or as a team, or like it's very confusing.
Think about it this way: like once you start exploring it, what is the limitation? Like how does it help? How does it limit you? So it's really like for you to explore how it brings the teams together. So think about it: you have two teams who can't access the physical place. So how do you use the VR space to help them come on board? For instance, yeah. It's gonna be cool. First in the world. Okay, one more question. No? Yes.
Everyone gonna have a go at the VR? Like everyone's gonna have a turn to try it out, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, I mean we can't because it's like actual physical space of the event space. So that was the reason why we have one person from each team. So if you all tried, or if we all try to cram in there, it's gonna be a mess. But yeah. But this is the catch. So nothing limits because it's like for us to use, so we can just kind of set it up and you can go there and check it out afterwards. But we'll share guidelines this evening. Yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure if this is about the guidelines, but there's like these VR sessions in the schedule. So are we supposed to attend those sessions, or are they like voluntary if you want to go there, or are they still valid?
Yeah, that's a good point. So that was the initial idea, that we book the places, but now we are going to share guidelines this evening, and the idea is that you get to coordinate when do you do it. So we thought that it doesn't really make sense that we impose that you guys go there and now, but instead we'll give instructions on how to access the locations, or you can find your own locations and then do it whenever it fits your schedule.
One more thing to add. So in the updated handbook, the schedule looks almost the same if you look at it at first glance, but look at it closely. There is a new legend in there. There are things that have been changed. Stuff has been swapped out. So use the new schedule.
Okay. Let's conclude with this obligatory pep talk. Let's do this. Yes. I was like a 50-50 chance if it's gonna work or not. But I know you're laughing at me, not with me. But I don't. As long as you're laughing. Okay. 2.5 weeks. No, 2 weeks, 3 days. Let's. No, I was about to say let's do this. No, thank you so much for today. Have fun tomorrow morning and see you 2 p.m. at Flavor Studio. Thank you. Over and out.
Ja. Ja.